100 rated chess. But if a player makes more than 3 consecutive moves to one player's half of the board, the video ends. Very challenging. We get a 100 rated guy from France. e4. He doesn't play the French defense. Knight f3. Explanation time. The green part is my side of the board, the red part is my opponent's side of the board. Both I and my opponent must not land on the same side 3 turns in a row. Very simple. All I have to do is to make sure my opponent changes sides every now and then. Bishop c5. That blunders a pawn. My opponent has made 2 moves on his side of the board. Next move will probably be queen f6 forking my king and knight, the third move on the same side of the board. Therefore I will need to find a way to force him to make a move on my side of the board to reset the counter. Never mind. That queen changed sides and reset the counter. Very convenient. Queen f3. Knight f6. d3. Knight c6. Okay, that is 2 moves in a row, 4 moves and the video is dead. I need to set up a counter reset here. Knight takes c6. D takes c6. Okay, that is 3 moves on the same side. Now I have to somehow trick him into making a move onto my side of the board. Very easy. b4. Hanging the b-pawn to save the video, and even though now he can just move his bishop back and immediately end the video, I mean there is just physically no way he cannot see that his bishop can take my pawn and there is absolutely nothing defending my pawn right here. The capture itself also comes with a check which should increase its likelihood by 3 times over or something. And since I also opened up his other bishop, bishop g5 attacking my queen here is also a very viable option. Right? Of course. c3. Bishop c5. d4. Bishop b6. Okay, I also need to be careful not to end the video myself. e5. As a viewer you may not be able to fully experience this game like I did, but I can tell you that it was actually very difficult keeping track of all the countings and also have to build up lands according to the countings. If I'm not careful I may be forced to make a blunder just to reset the counter. Knight e4. Well, unless my opponent resets his own counter, that is very convenient. Bishop c4. c5. Okay, now queen check is best, but I'll check with bishop instead. Queen check may scare my opponent too much. I don't want him to pull all his pieces back to defend his king and naturally ends the video. King f8. Bishop d5 discovered check. King e7. Okay, that is 3 moves on the same side, 1 more move on that side and the video ends, but I'll say there is actually nothing to worry about. Bishop takes c4. My opponent has already set up c takes d4, now he just has to take my pawn like what he planned to do a few moves ago. It is literally the only capture he has right now, which also wins a pawn, so it is just physically impossible to miss it. Right? Perfect. Castle. D takes c3. Knight takes c3. Bishop g4. Okay, now it gets a bit dangerous. I made 3 moves on my side of the board, so now I need to go to the other side, but it turns out that my opponent has also made 3 moves on my side of the board. He needs to immediately go back to his side. I need to save the video for both sides here. Knight d5 check. Resetting my own counter, while also forcing his king to reset his counter. King e6. Queen b3. Bishop e2. Aha! That blunders a checkmate in 5, knight takes c7, a discovered double check. King d7. Okay, now there is queen e6 continuing the checkmate, but unfortunately if I go right now I will eventually end my own video. 4 moves are just too many. Therefore, after thinking for a while, rook d1 check, resetting both sides' counters. It turns out that this rook check actually doesn't change anything. My checkmate is still available after he takes my rook and we have more consecutive moves, and even though now he can also just ignore my rook and move his king, which ruins pretty much everything. I mean, it is just physically impossible to not see the bishop next to the rook here. He literally moved the bishop next to my rook. Or he can abandon the game. Well, the win is a win. Mission accomplished.